Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from Night Carver Designs, and today on the show, I have Hadeel from Four Rivers Studio. She is amazing, a super talented power carver, and also extremely witty. I absolutely love her, and you can also catch her coming up soon at Workbench Con. She's going to be presenting on how to sell your product even if you have a small audience. She does an amazing job. Before their account took off and had, I think it's like 40,000 right now, but before that, they were a relatively smaller account, and she would constantly sell out her products, her and her husband's products, very quickly whenever they launched their sales. So she's going to be showing all the little tips and tricks that she does to help make that happen. If you'd like to support the show, an easy way to do so is I have my affiliates linked in my bio, and you can see all the places that I get a little bit of commission from when you use my codes, especially Carhartt, friends. That's a great place to shop, I'm just saying. And I also have a fully loaded website, so go check that out. All right, guys, let's get on with the show, and then make sure you stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about some times where you can join me and learn how to power carve, or just, hang out and have some fun at Maker Camp. So definitely stay tuned for that. And a huge thank you to the sponsor of the show, Sabertooth Power Carving. You can use Night Carver 10 in all caps to save 10%. All right, let's chat with Hadeel.
Well, if you're using my office, please feel free to make use of my resources.
The books are just decorations. I don't think he's read a single one.
True.
I love
How
it.
are you?
I am, overstimulated, ready to go.
Same.
It's been a hell of a day.
Right. And I slept for a good portion of it because I worked last night, but
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's cool. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I have a lot of like good things all happening at once. And then with the carving contest on top of it, which is one of the good things, like it's
Right.
cool. I'm insane. And I go like, let's do a 3-foot tall Chucky, bride of Chucky doll,
But that thing is looking so cool. Like the
Thank you.
details are coming together so nicely.
I'm winging it.
It looks really good, especially for winging it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The Ninja Turtle tiki poles were like my training for all of this,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like it's funny how like there's small things that we do every once in a while, and it's just like it feels like it's not that significant or not that like
Yep.
involved, but you realize it's all just kind of, leading up to something bigger. Like all
100%.
these smaller things that I've carved over time just helped me kind of gain the technique that I need to now move on to bigger pieces, which is super exciting.
Yeah. No,
Like,
100%. Just like getting used to holding the tools a certain way,
Mhm.
or which ones are the best ones to use for a certain area or that you're trying to achieve, like
Right.
it's pretty crazy. Like I always wanted to, but I never thought I'd
Mhm.
actually get to the point where I'd have time to do like relief carves or like something 3-dimensional. And now
Right.
granted, this is something really big to try to fit in 1 month. Plus I have to paint it. Granted,
Mhm.
my carving doesn't count if I just get it carved. Like I keep telling myself this, if you just get it carved and have it done for a carve, you're fine, Tiffany. And I'm like, no, it must be painted, airbrushed. She's got to have sculpted looking hair. It's got to be flowing.
Well, I think like one of the things that stands out about your pieces is how you paint them. Like you the way you paint things just brings things to life at such a different level. And I think what you do is so unique that I don't see anybody else doing what you're doing. And I
Thank
think you
you.
mastered like picking the right colors that go together and like the shading and the like fading into other colors. I think you do it so well.
It's all about watering down your paint, people. Have fun,
Yeah.
layer it in there, and have a good time. No, thank you so much. No, I really appreciate that. It's funny that you say that though, because like when I was deciding on what kind of art I wanted to make, I literally was watching Instagram going, I don't want to do that. Nope, they
Mhm.
already do that. No, I don't
Mhm.
do that. I'm like, nobody carves the sign and then paints it. I'm like, people paint cut out, MDF they've cut out and paint
Right.
something on top of it, but they don't put it on a piece of wood, carve it out, and then go in there and paint it. So that was very intentional.
Right.
So thank you for noticing.
Yeah, you definitely have your style that stands out,
Thanks.
which like I think if anybody sees your pieces out anywhere, they'll automatically recognize them as your own, which I don't think a lot of people can say. So I think that's huge.
Well, thank you. I feel like you're interviewing me today.
Oh, so tell me about how you got started. I'm kidding.
OMG. Well, I just wanted to switch into your influencer voice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that.
For you guys, though, I gotta say, what stands out for you guys are your wood selections. You guys have great taste when it comes to picking out different styles of wood and the colors. Like, as I was just scrolling your page, I'm like, the beautiful, like, you use like black limba a lot, like
Yeah. I love
gorgeous,
Black
just
Mamba.
gorgeous.
Thanks. It's funny because like Black Limba is so expensive. So whenever we make
But
anything with Black Limba, like if we're selling it, we usually sell it higher than what we would normally sell something that's
oh
like
yeah,
maple or walnut.
mm-hmm.
But it's such a fun wood to carve, especially
Oh,
that because it's a hardwood, but it's a soft hardwood. So it's super easy to carve. It's really easy to sand. But yeah, thanks.
I have to dabble into more hardwoods, but because I paint my pieces, I
Right.
don't usually use it. But like I admire it so much. What got you guys into like going and getting those beautiful woods? Like I think I was reading that you guys started making things as like gifts for people.
Right.
So
Yeah. And the funny thing is that when we started, like, this was, of course, during COVID, which is when everybody started something.
mhm. Yep.
But, like Firas was off, but I was still working. And I
Okay.
was actually working probably harder than I've ever worked because I'm
I
a
bet.
nurse.
Yep.
Right. But so I would, go to work, come home and sleep. And while I was sleeping, Firas would go to the lumber yard, like just playing around and just like going to see what's out there. And he actually would go for like walnut and maple. And then he would come across Purple Heart and he'd take pictures and he'd come home. And for hours, we would like look at pictures and be like, oh my God, we can't believe there's wood that's naturally purple, or look at this wood, it's gorgeous, and this and that. But yeah, that's just kind of how it started. So like, and we're like, okay, but that's really expensive. So if we wanted this to make sense, we need to start kind of making a little bit of money just so that we're not using our own
Mm-hmm.
income to buy all this wood. So that's kind of how we got started. And then eventually, because he had more time, I would be like, I think this combination of woods would look really cool together. And then he'd come up with something and put it all together. And I'd like wake up after sleeping all day.
It's pretty
And
awesome.
yeah. And it was just a fun stress reliever, just being able to hang out in a way where it's like we're not just watching Netflix or, and it was just like, okay, thinking of a bunch of different possibilities and like, how cool would it be if we did this? Or how can we possibly make this happen? And that's kind of how it started. And then obviously we were doing a lot of cutting boards and then we got bored of cutting boards, but yeah.
I think everyone does eventually, but some people, man, they just keep on going and mastering them. It's insane. Like
Right.
the crazy
Yeah.
combinations people do.
Yeah, and not just the combinations, but I feel like you said, I think it's different when people have like mastered it to the point where their cutting boards look like works of art. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could see that like so much time and care went into
Yes.
making it a perfect piece.
Precision is like what I would use to describe those kind of pieces, you know?
Right, right. And it's like you see, yeah, and I'm just like, my mind can't even comprehend how you came up with that. But everybody else, it's kind of just making boards that are like super easy to put together. I think it's like we all have the same idea, like
Mm-hmm.
this is something that sells, it's an easy gift. So, and it just kind of like allows all of us to kind of fund the things that we really want to do.
No, it's really fun. I'm kind of just thinking about the situation of him getting like these color combinations given to him and then like going into the shop and then creating that. That had to be a ton of fun for him too. Like, oh, what could do with this? Because like as I was looking at the boards, the placement is just so cool. Like really, you could see a lot of intention went into them.
Right. And yeah, it was a really cool, fun process for him too, because he always says, like, I'm not really creative, but I'm like, okay, but look at what you've been able to do. So I think you are.
Yeah. Sometimes people just need that little push,
Right.
So how did you get into power carving? Was that competition with Sadie, or what were you doing it before
So
that?
yeah, I was kind of doing it before that because I think this was like February of 2021. I was thinking up of like a geometric pattern and I was like, it would be cool if I make it a clock. And I carved a geometric pattern into this wood and then filled it with epoxy or whatever. Um, just to kind of mostly to hide the imperfections and like
Yep.
the
Mm-hmm.
but
Smooth it
yeah,
all out, hide the blemishes.
right,
I get it. I
exactly.
get
Like,
it.
yeah, the epoxy is totally for a design element.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because I absolutely hate working with epoxy, but um, yeah, so we didn't have a CNC at the time, and I got I had a Dremel, and
Mm-hmm.
I decided to like I bought these like carbide burrs from off of Amazon,
Uh-huh.
and I used those to like just carve a pattern. And the funny thing is that I later realized those were like burrs and that people use to make jewelry with. So I
Yep.
wasn't even
Metal.
using
Yeah.
the right stuff, right? So I ended up like seeing Sadie's competition one time, like seeing the first round because I think I was part of the second round.
Yeah.
So that first round, I saw like the candle holder that Keith had made. I don't know, Keith from
Mm-hmm.
Blackthorn Concepts. And I just like blasted him with questions like, what are those things that you're using? And he told me all about like bits and like sent me Sadie's discount code. And I just like bought a few. And then I just went down a rabbit hole like, oh my God, now that I'm using the proper tools, like there's so much that I can do. And I just played around with patterns and yeah. And then it just escalated slowly. Like it took me a while to understand that like you have to think a little bit opposite when you're carving, like because
Mm-hmm.
if you're basically carving the negatives, if
Yes,
that makes
exactly.
yeah,
No, it makes complete sense. You're pulling away that material and you're leaving the
you're
results.
leaving your
Yeah.
pattern
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but for the first few times that I like didn't really understand that. And like I was making candlestick holders, then a plant shop, like a local plant shop, reached out to me. They're like, can you make them propagation stations? And then people loved the propagation stations that I made for this plant shop. So I just batched out a bunch. And then from there, I kind of started to get a better grasp of like how I could accomplish certain patterns. What are the
Mm-hmm.
proper burrs that I need to accomplish, this type of look or whatever.
You
And it
really
just
have it down,
escalated.
man. Watching your videos and I'm seeing like you use, I can't even remember, like a flame or something like that. And just like the way you were placing it and the pattern and then like the results, I was like, oh, that's so smart. That's how that's done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
very
I mean,
impressed how you figured that all out.
thanks. It's a lot of trial and error and a lot of practice. But I have my favorites and like that I think are so versatile. And I also think it's cool. Like I've always wanted to challenge myself to make a piece and then make the opposite. So I don't know how to even describe that, but like the parts that are indented to make a
Right.
replica of the piece where those are the parts that are standing out.
No, I totally get it. You want to invert it, you type it,
Right.
exactly. Like just have that negative flip.
Right.
That's cool. I like that. I did kind of notice that in a few of your pieces. Yeah, there's like something that complements it, we'll say, like, here's this one, here's this little
Right.
friend.
I try.
That's cool. I saw like you're getting sick of making like the salt cellars and you want to like dive in and get more creative and stuff. So that's what this current project that you're working on, is that something more of just kind of like to get you feeling that again, get creative?
Right. Yeah. So the salt cellars I realized that the only part of them that I really enjoyed making was the top where I was carving the piece
Yep.
because the rest of it, like just out of like just for the sake of production, we were making them on the CNC. So we were
Mm-hmm.
batching those out on the CNC and then I was going in and putting the patterns on the lids and they're good money makers. They sell consistently, but I was just like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm dabbling in like larger scale art pieces and I am almost done with my first. I'm just sanding. The sanding takes longer than the actual carving, but
Yeah.
um yeah, and I swear it's just like day and night with how I feel making this thing. Like I could spend 2 hours just going, like just carving, and just it feels so cathartic because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm just learning so much as I'm doing it, but I'm also, the excitement of overcoming this challenge has been so good for my soul. Like it
Good.
like reignited this, oh, this is what I was looking for. Like this is what I was after. So I'm excited.
That's so funny that you're saying that though. I've been really just like hardcore learning the laser lately and just dedicating time, and I've been miserable, like
Right.
miserable. And my husband's like, "Will you just go carve something because you haven't like made art in forever, and you can tell on you." And I'm like, So then like when this challenge came, like I said, it might have thrown my whole life for a loop, but I was like overjoyed because it forced me to go do something. And look what I did. I'm like,
Right.
let's go big, because
Right.
I same as you, like with making an art piece, like you need that relief, and I needed it. So I'm in the same boat where I'm like, finally in there and having fun. Like this is cool though. So are you going to be doing like a series, or are you trying to do just like one-offs here and there?
I'm trying to, like, I want the first few pieces that I make kind of relate to each other somehow. And because I've had this idea for so long, and again, I just month after month, I'm like, okay, we have to meet this financial goal in order to make things work. We have to meet this financial goal. And I've just been putting it off. And now I realize, like, it's been a year. And in this year, I haven't really made any of the things that like set out to make.
Yeah.
And I was really down about it. Like I was looking at like older posts of the things that I really enjoyed making. And it wasn't necessarily that I thought they were really good pieces. It's just that those are the pieces that made me happy when I was like working, or
Yeah.
those are the ones that like I would go to sleep and I would think about, like, oh my God, when I wake up, I'm going to do this, like, and being so excited about it. Or it kind of gave me an idea, like, oh, this piece that I have in mind is like a dream piece, is possible because I was
Hmm.
able to implement this technique here. If I do it on a larger scale, I think I could do a better job or whatever. So I was really not in a great place
Hmm.
mentally and emotionally, because I was just like, I can't believe, like, I feel like I'm letting myself from last year down a little bit. But I mean, of course, it's just the reality of life. And like, I try not to like dwell on
Yeah.
all those like negative feelings and stuff. They're real, they're there, but it's just like, what can I do about it? And like this month, I was just like, okay, whether we have the finances or not, which is probably not the best way to go about things,
Yeah.
but I was just like, this is something that I need to do for myself. And I'm like, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's okay. It's fine. But at least I fulfilled that part of me
Hmm.
that was like looking to make something like that.
It's that artisticness, like when it's just burning inside of you and you really, really want to make something, it
Right.
has to come out. It does. Like it's just that instinct. Like you just need to have it created. So like that's really cool though. Like I've been enjoying like watching your stories as it's coming together and just seeing its development, and you comparing it back to like the piece that you made in the contest with Sadie, like that was your
Right.
first kind of like draping look, and seeing it come alive. So very cool. And I'm glad you went
Right.
after something that was a challenge.
And that draping, like the stool that I made for that contest, it's again, like I look at it every day. It sits in my living room, and I love it because of just like what it did for me in terms of like opened up this world of like power carving on a different level.
Mhm.
But technique wise, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much that I would do differently looking back
Yeah.
at it. And it's okay. And I'm not hard on myself for it, because like it was my first time carving on that scale. Like it's not a big deal. But like that, looking at it every day makes me like more, like gives me more of an itch to be like, okay, no, you need to get back to it, because like this could be something.
Mhm. No, exactly. Like, and now look at it. Like I'm assuming almost there. Almost
Yeah,
there. Just a
almost.
few more 20, 30 more hours of sanding. You'd be all right.
That sounds about right. I thought I was done sanding, right? And then I brought it inside to show fit us. And then I had it like in front of a big sunny window. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm
Oh
not
no, it
close.
showed all the lines and stuff.
Right.
Oh.
All the lines, like the just so many pieces, parts of it that I'm like, oh no, I need to go back over this with like 40 grit and start over. Like,
I think I was too hypnotized the other day from the way Surf Prep grabs all the curves. I was sanding and I totally sanded her nose flat. So I have to like recarve it. I was just like, whoa, look at it go. And then I'm like, oh, you dummy.
what
You should
grit
have
were you
hand
using?
sanded. I was using their fine, but
Okay.
still, like, I
Right.
was just hypnotized though. I was just like, dee, 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 dee. And that was not
That's,
smart.
do you feel like, I feel like I have so many little like sanding tools, like small little sanding tools, but I feel like nothing works as well as just using my hands.
Yeah. When it
And
comes
it's
to carving,
unfortunate
it is
because
severely
it's such a
unfortunate.
pain. It hurts. It takes forever. I have no arm strength. Like it's the worst, but I swear nothing sands better than just using your hands. And it's an unfortunate truth.
The little gator tool gets you so far though. Like I don't
Mhm.
know if you've tried that little yellow one with the foam grip on it.
Oh, I haven't tried it.
Try it. It's just like a little block with foam and it's like
Okay.
really soft. So at least you can get most of the tight spots with that first
Right.
and then switch to, full on hand. Like that's the smallest tool and most comfortable tool that I have been using. If you watch back on one of my videos recently, I used it for her face. Too bad I
Okay.
didn't use it for the whole face, but
Okay.
I used it for all the corners and stuff and that's been helping. But yeah, no, hand sanding sadly is it's where it's at.
Right. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Where did you learn all your editing skills? Did you just kind of learn that as you go? Like with that, because you're hilarious, but like a lot
Okay.
of things you could tell are pre-planned. So I'm assuming you must pre-plan some ideas before you film too.
No.
No, you just wing it.
So sometimes I will sometimes like if you look at my notepad on my like iPhone, if you look at my notepad, I have some ideas of like I guess pre-production ideas like frame for frame. But
Hmm.
that's more so for like reveal pieces, like this is more the more dramatic pieces, but a lot of like to be real,
Yeah.
I have I have a job that it has nothing to do with power carving and like editing
Hmm.
Instagram or social media. So a lot of my time goes to that. I don't have childcare and I have small children. So a lot of my stuff is just I go back into my old reels and I look at them and I was like, okay, how can I convey this idea again in a different way?
Hmm.
And so I put a bunch of clips together and I just like, I don't know, I just start writing up a script and then just editing it down until it feels right. But a lot of that is not pre-planned. Like
Oh, see,
actually
I
almost none of it is
you're like a rare one will get pre-planned when I have a song in mind.
right. Yeah, sometimes if I'm like I love listening to music on my way to like to work and back and just like blasting it and like I probably look a little insane because I'm just like right in the car like um but it's sometimes if there's certain songs I'm like, "Oh, I like this a lot and I think this would be really cool to convey like exactly the feeling I'm trying to convey." I'll write the song down and then I'll kind of edit to that song.
That's
Um
cool.
that happens sometimes.
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 Well, you fooled me on a couple of them. But yeah, I love it though, because it is like the way you put the videos together is always keeping it fresh. And of course, like I said, all the beautiful wood grains just flashing and all the color, like it's just gorgeous. So
You.
good job on recycling that content.
Thanks. Otherwise, I would be posting like once every 6 months or something.
I need
I don't
someone to
make a
come
lot of
edit.
new things. Right.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy the editing part. Like I really enjoy
you could
putting
tell.
the videos together and like editing them and playing around with effects and all that. Like I enjoy that a lot. I feel like that's for me part of the creative process,
Hmm.
but I just don't really have that much footage to go off of because again, I'm not like in the shop every day making new things. So I have to kind of just be creative with what I currently have and just reuse it in different ways.
you know, for as like a content creation aspect, that's actually very helpful that you have, you know, that footage to recycle and stuff throughout the times. I have the problem where I'm in there making too many videos and never editing them. I have so many unreleased videos that are just piling right now. And then I'm
Right.
like, I feel that overwhelm just building because I know I'm like, I have to edit, but also I have to be carving. So how do I do both of those things? Like, I
Right.
don't know.
I will say, and I hope I mean, this won't get back to my boss, but when I have downtime at work, like sometimes I'll be in the corner, like,
Just
okay, I'm
editing.
this, right. And then some of my coworkers are like, "Are you editing for your Instagram?"
Yes, I am.
No, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Me, Instagram, never heard of it.
You're like, I don't know if you're being real.
I no, my coworkers think that I don't have like a serious bone in my body, which I like I'm just always sarcastic.
Yeah.
And especially at work, like I'm sarcastic, but not in like a funny way. I'm just like, oh, really? Is that
Try.
what you think? Like, yeah.
So you're a character at work, is what you're saying.
Well, okay. Do you watch The Office?
I have watched The Office. I don't
Okay.
watch it religiously every day,
Okay.
like some people do, because I know there's a difference.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't know if you know, if you're familiar with the characters, but somebody recently asked me if you have a personality at work, who would it be? And I was like, oh, I'm Stanley. Stanley is the grumpy old man.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's how I am at work because I don't usually want to be there. Um, but yeah, and I'm not like the warmest, fuzziest person at work again because I don't want to be there. But so my coworkers
It's a
always give me,
struggle.
yeah, they always give me crap for it. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so sarcastic all the time." Like, yeah, sorry.
I understand that it's hard to be somewhere you don't want to be. Like,
Mhm.
it's just a big challenge, especially when you have other possibilities awaiting you that you know you could tackle, you know?
Right. Like my mind is somewhere else right now. I just want to get home
Yeah.
and sit in that peace. Like,
No, no, I get it. I get it. Like, I lived through that. Like, when I started doing it, like social media more and working the full-time job with the kids, like, I felt that pull. And I'm like, this is what I've always wanted to do, like make art and sell art. Like that's all I want to do. And being at a job that made me miserable was just so hard to deal with. So, I mean, I'm glad I've made that transition, but I still am not making art and painting every day. Like, you know what I
right.
mean? Because I still have other jobs that I took on. I just got rid of that one.
So how it's been over a year, right? Probably a year and
Yeah.
a half.
It's a year and a month.
Oh, a year and a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. A year and a month. I'm
Good
rounding
for
out that new
you.
year. Yes. It's been a struggle. Like I know you've talked about budgets and, you know, watching your finances. Like that's all it's been. But it seems whenever I'm really, really getting to that desperate, like, should I go get a job
Mhm.
situation? Somebody orders something or something. Or Sabretooth says, hey, let's do that contest you were talking about. And I'm like, thank goodness,
Right.
because you know, I was seriously contemplating what am I doing right now? You know?
Right. I was actually just talking to Firas earlier about like, do you think I should go to 40 hours a week? Because for us, full time, or for nurses, generally full time is considered like 36 hours a week.
Okay.
I'm part time, but I'm 0.6, which is considered like 2 24 or 2 12-hour shifts a week. So I
Okay.
work 24 hours a week, but because it's night shift, it goes into 2 days. So it feels like I'm working like a
All the
lot more than I
time.
am.
Yeah.
Right. But I was just telling Firas, I'm like, should I just go like full time just for a little bit, just until we could like catch our footing? And then like as soon as I kind of mentioned that, like an email came through with like a possible like a deal, like a brand deal. And I was like, okay, I think this is a sign that like we're not
Don't do this. Yeah.
like right. Yeah, that maybe I shouldn't do this. Like, yeah, financially we might be okay, but like I will be even more miserable and I will see my kids even less. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
good. Congrats on this possibility of a deal. That's
Thank,
exciting. Yeah.
thank you.
But yeah, you like, you need those signs to tell you to like just keep holding on, you
Right,
know, like, don't do it. Don't do it yet. Like,
right.
those, like I said, I have a lot of good things going on in my life right now, like some I can't even talk about that I'm working on, but like, because I can't talk about it, it doesn't feel real either, you know? So I'm
Right.
like, I'm battling
Same.
that too. Cause I'm like,
Right. No, and I always feel like blessed and really lucky that my job is one like I always when people ask me like, do you ever regret being a nurse? And I always say no, because realistically, I can't think of any other job that will give me this level of flexibility in my
yeah,
schedule. Where I work 3 days in a row or 3 nights in a row, and now I'm off until next weekend.
yeah,
Like, and I still have benefits and that I for my family, which I'm very grateful for. But and I could, if I feel like I'm in a pickle, I could pick up overtime. I could pick up shifts if I need to,
that is nice.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's really
So
nice.
yeah, it's a very flexible job. I can work, I have the ability to work night shifts so that I'm home with my kids and I don't have to spend money on childcare.
Hmm.
So I do feel really blessed. And that's why when people are like, do you think you'll ever do this full time and leave your job? I'm like, I don't know if I need to anytime
Yeah.
soon.
I think you could fit this lifestyle with what you're doing for sure.
Right.
I
And
didn't have that
especially if it's
advantage. I mean,
older.
my
Right.
job was super flexible, but it was from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. because I was leaving to go bring my kids to school in between that. Like my
Mhm.
work was letting me stop work at 8, go bring the kids to school because we never qualified for buses, pick up the
Mhm.
kids from school, you know, and then go back to work. So like I was working 7 to 5 plus doing social media at night and painting or like making too, like all that too. So it was like,
Which that's something I don't understand. Like the people that work like 9 to 5s or, every single weekday. I'm like, how? How do you do anything else?
yeah.
And I just actually like the other day I came across a reel of somebody who I actually really respect and I love his work and stuff. But the reel was basically like, I work this many hours a week and I do all this, but when I do all my work on weekends, I work 8 hours a day every weekend, like both weekend days, and I make it happen. So if you
Mm.
want it, you can make it happen too. I'm like, I bet you either don't have kids or you have
Yeah.
somebody helping take care of
Right.
your kids. I'm like, because that's not realistic for most people to like
No,
grow a full-time business on top of working 9 to 5. Like that's not realistic for a lot of other people.
it's exhausting. Yeah. Like when I was doing that 7 to 5 job and stuff, like my in-laws used to come over and help with the kids when it was summer, you know,
Mhm.
like those kind of things. Or like we'd have ABA therapists here at night. So, because my kids are on the spectrum. So they would kind of help a little bit for an hour or two. And I was like,
Right,
oh, thank God when they were there. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, but now that like the in-laws don't come over anymore, because I quit my job and it was like, I don't want them, they don't listen to this, but I quit my job and all of a sudden it was like, I didn't need help anymore, you
Right.
know? And I'm like, no, I still do.
Right. And I feel like it's kind of like when you need it even more because
Yes.
it's not easy being home
No.
with with kids and that's like without any help. Like
Yep.
I feel like that's almost, I don't know, it's really hard. I'm lucky, I'm grateful that my mother-in-law helps and
That's great.
my mom sometimes is like, bring the kids over, keep them here for a few days. And I'm like, okay,
Phew.
mom, see you guys
Yeah.
in a couple days. And but she's unfortunately gonna be going to the Middle East for 2 months.
Oh, so you're gonna feel that.
Yes, I already feel it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I like that's the nice part. Like if I do really, really need it, I can tap into family. Like tomorrow,
Mhm.
I did an SOS tonight. And I'm like, someone please, who can take my kids tomorrow? I'm like, it's gonna be 75 out and storming all day. And I just want to carve. Like
Right,
I want to turn her into like the bride of Chucky tomorrow. Like
right,
so like my sister's taking him tomorrow. And I'm like, because she's
nice.
a teacher and she's home. And I'm like,
Right,
thank you. I mean, she has 2 other kids, but still, I'm like,
right.
please, thank you.
That's awesome.
I'll be buying pizza tomorrow
Good.
and probably bringing over some muffin tops,
Good.
right? There's
You
this
deserve
gorgeous
it.
bakery. She needs those muffin tops after watching 4 kids.
Right.
Oh, but yes, so that's my big plan. But it is nice when you can tap into people that you have like people around you to do that.
Right. Definitely. I mean, my sister has kids that are the same age as my kids, but she just decided to like move to Seattle, which is so rude. But well, this was like 2 years ago. I'm still not over it, clearly.
It's
How dare
tough.
she? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I have all my family is still around me, and like I would love to move one day, but I'm like, not until my kids are older because I need that support group that I'm near. Like,
Where do you live?
I'm in Springfield, Mass,
Okay.
Massachusetts. Yeah,
Okay.
I always say Mass, and people are like, what?
No, I mean, I figured
Yeah.
what you meant, but yeah. Do you feel like you have like um like a big creative community around you?
Not where I am. Like, if I
Okay.
went to like a little bit more north, to
Mhm.
me, there's more artist towns and very, very liberal artsy areas. And where I live, I mean, there are some areas, but like I live in a city that's very unsafe. I don't go to those areas where the creative people are, sadly, because it's in our downtown. And I'm like, I'm cool. Like,
Right,
I don't want to put myself in that area. But if I went past my own city and an
right.
hour north, there's a lot of creative areas for sure.
Well,
What about you?
so I'm like 20 minutes outside of Chicago, like the
Okay.
city. But and I feel like there's people here and there. Like, but I feel like I have a hard time because the fact that I don't feel like my niche is just woodworking, like, or just being a maker or whatever. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like I'm trying to get more into like the artistic aspect of it all, and just focus on that. And I feel like the art community is very like dispersed and almost like they all kind of, I don't know, it's like all established artists. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm
got you.
just, like I feel like I have to kind of put the work in to have something to show for it if I'm going to be like,
Look at
hey,
me.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is okay. And I feel like maybe in time. And it's nice. Like sometimes like I just picked up a shop cart from like Alma from Pink Soul Studios. Like there's people here and I
Yeah.
enjoy seeing and that enjoy hanging out with. But Chicago is also weird because all the suburbs are so like dispersed and yeah. But I feel like somebody was talking about Philly the other day and how it's like such a big hub for like there's such a big appreciation for craftsmanship
Oh.
and art and things like that. And I'm like, really? Huh. Interesting.
I there's the steel and like in Pittsburgh nearby, like there are a lot of things that people built. So I could see that like it's like a hardworking area. So people create a lot over there.
That
That
would make
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
I'm sure Chicago has a big art scene and things like that. I just haven't tapped into it.
Yeah. For me, it'd be more like going to Boston or something.
Mhm.
If I wanted to go to the right, or if I go to the left, it's the Berkshires where it's more like
Bougies.
no, it's more, oh, I guess it would be, but it's more like I would say more farm town, like
Oh,
eclectic. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. It's funny like which way you go and what Massachusetts becomes.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some places in Illinois that I just would never probably venture to unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, everybody has this idea of what Illinois is just because Chicago's in it. But it's like, no, if you go certain distance outside of Chicago, it's like a whole different world here that is not like the friendliest.
Well, that yeah, I know when people think of where I live in the third dangerous city in Massachusetts. Like
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. Like, but I'm on the outskirts, like the downtown is 20 minutes away, but there was a murder down the street the other day. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. Yeah, I'm not in the
Oh my
greatest
God.
of areas.
Right.
But
Yeah.
hey,
Hey,
I found a nice house on an acre of land that goes to the water. And it
that's
was like,
nice.
yeah, and it was in my price range.
That's awesome.
Just had to stay where I grew up. That's all.
Right.
Hence why I keep pondering moving one day. But it's like, it's
Where would you
hard
want
to
to
leave.
move? Right.
Not here. No, somewhere that's not like the most temperature controlled place we could find, we'll say. I don't like it too
Right.
hot. So I don't want to go anywhere where I'm going to be scorched to death. To really
Okay.
just somewhere cool and relaxing. But I still want to be on water because now I'm spoiled.
It's funny because my parents are obviously my parents are immigrants, and I'm just always like, you guys could have settled anywhere. Like you didn't have family here.
Yeah.
You didn't have like roots down yet. You could have made roots anywhere in the country. And you picked one of the places that gets either really, really, really hot or really, really, really freezing. There's never middle ground. I'm like, why did you do that? My dad's like, oh, we heard that there was a lot of Arabs in the area and we thought like maybe it'd be easier to get settled and stuff. And I'm like, I think there was probably a lot of Arabs in other areas too, but I don't think you looked hard enough. Like
That's hilarious. I feel like that happens though. Like my grandmother came over as like an arranged marriage from Italy, and like they all settled where I am, like in Springfield and then like Chicopee and stuff. And then like they built like there was like this whole like little Italy and all that down there and stuff, which has kind of been diminishing. But yeah, I feel like people do that. They kind of like stay where their culture is going, even though they're leaving where they're from. They're like, I want to be around people that are like me too, so I still don't lose it all,
Right. Interesting.
It is interesting though. Like, why'd you choose here? I mean, I'd love to be in Cali. I'd just be afraid of like being too hot, but probably Cali is where I really want to go, to be honest.
I know. My sister actually moved to San Diego and she's like, it's like the best city in the world. And I'm like, that's cool. Good for you.
If I could ever afford that. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
Right.
Realistically, that's not happening.
Right.
Not yet, until I get my Netflix deal.
Yeah. I would watch the heck out of that.
Oh, thanks. I just want to be a host. I want to be a host on shows. Like literally, that's all I want to do.
That would be perfect for you.
Thank you. I just want to make stupid jokes at other people's expenses.
So pretty much what I already do on a daily basis.
Yes.
My everyday life.
But on a national, international style. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. But no, that really is like, I would love to do that. I always talk about that like jokingly, but like that would be so fun.
That would be. The funny thing is though, I'm like super awkward in front of a camera if I know that people are going to be watching it. So with my stuff, like the reason why I hate when my coworkers bring up Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, it's like, I don't want them playing my videos in front of me. Like, I don't want to hear the sound of my voice. And to me, I make my videos and I put them out in the world, pretending and lying to myself and telling myself that nobody's going to watch this. And that's the only way that I'm able to do this, because I mean, it even took me a whole year to be able to put my face in front of the camera. And it's not like I'm a shy person. I'm an extrovert. I'm not like shy in a social setting or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just like such a weird experience to be like holding up a phone and like talking to nobody. And so it's the idea of being recorded and having that be it's not really my comfort level.
Having somebody else film me is definitely the scarier part for sure.
Right.
I can film the hell out of myself, but somebody else, because then you can't see how you look. Like, it sounds so vain, but it's so true. You can't see how you look. So then you're like, do I look ridiculous? Like, what am I doing? How should I put my hands? Like, you start getting your head about the stupid stuff instead of just like being you and doing what you have to do. I get most stiff when I'm doing like the cart, like those talking to the camera about like the carb with this competition. I'm like, loosen up. You could do this. Because I'm like, it's going on Sabretooth's channel, right? So it's not going on my channel where I don't care. You see what I put on my channel.
Yeah.
Not so afraid on my channel. Theirs, I'm like, who should I be? Like, I think that's what I'm always thinking is like, how professional do I have to be?
Right.
No one's ever told me to be professional, but I hold myself, because I think it's because I worked in marketing and advertising for so long.
Right.
I hold myself to this, like, you have to be professional standards, but it's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
I can imagine, because the idea of just being, I will say though, I recently went to, the Haven conference.
Oh yeah.
So
I've been once.
You've been there? Okay.
Yes, I've been once, so we can talk.
It's very like, it's not really my scene, because it's just a very different like different category of niches, like home decor, and a lot of the styles that are highlighted as like farmhouse style and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nope. But it's just like not me. So, but I
Oh,
went on behalf of DIY for a Cure. So like, I don't even think I said the words for Reverse Studio, not once. Like, I think somebody else was like, "Oh, do you follow her Hadeel? Her account is for Reverse Studio." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that." But I was there as DIY for a Cure. And they had a party one night. It was like, I think, I don't remember what the theme was. I think it was like sequin and sneakers. And I bought the most obnoxious like sequin suit that I could find, like bright gold
really? Oh,
glitter, which is so
beautiful.
outside of my comfort zone. But I was like, I'm gonna pretend I'm somebody else. And I got like bedazzled sunglasses that were like this big. And I just like was so comfortable just being a goofball because I was like, I'm somebody else completely. And it was funny because I'm like, why can't I just be like comfortable being myself as much as I'm comfortable like being this persona of this obnoxious like person at a party? Like,
It's tough. It's tough to be yourself fully on camera or off camera in some situations.
right. And it's different when you're like representing yourself or advocating for yourself because you're like, oh my God, I have to prove to them and prove to myself to people and like, come off a certain way. But when I was there, even just pitching to brands about supporting DIY for a Cure, like the level of confidence, I'm like, who is this person? Because I'm just like, like unabashedly just being like, give me your money because this
Yeah.
is the cause. And it's like, yeah, partly because I really believe in the cause, but second of all, like if they're saying no, they're not saying no to me. And I'm like, why is that rejection so much easier to take? Like, but
It's
yeah,
so much easier when it's not for yourself. Like
right.
so much easier. It just there's relief. Like for Workbench, I reach out to every brand. Hey, da, 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 and I throw this pitch at them. Come join us. And I'm like, I just did 30 brands in 30 minutes. Like it's
Wow.
insane. Like I've had days like that. I'm just like, what the hell, But yeah, for myself, I'm way better at now. But at the beginning, it is hard. Like, do I deserve this? Yes, but like,
Right. Right. And
how
it's
much do I deserve? Like that's the
right.
hard part. And how much can they give?
Right. Like with when I'm pitching on behalf of DIY for a Cure, like I said, it's partly because I really do believe in the cause. And it's kind of like, if a brand wants to show their support, they're also showing their communities like these are that we support some of the same causes that you guys all believe in. So to me, it's like if they say no, that's their loss. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
wait, but I'm also like a good asset. Like I could do education well, I could do humor well, I could edit
Hmm.
nicely, like I could make nice pieces. I'm like, I believe in the things that I make. Why can't I just be this confident when I'm pitching on my own behalf? And it really like it was such a mind shift just going to that conference that I was not expecting. So,
It's funny is I felt the same way about Haven, whereas I felt extremely uncomfortable. I'm not going to put on a dress. I'm not going to put anything sparkly on. Even if I was trying to go out of my comfort zone, I stay very comfortable in my black and gray area. And like, I just felt very awkward there. But also the classes were amazing. And like, they
right,
opened up my eyes so much. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can apply so much of this. Like, I do a lot of DIY stuff just intermingled with everything else in my life just because I bought an old ass house, hence why I could afford it. And I've been remodeling it for 14 years now. So like
right.
I'm very familiar in that area. And like, I've been making like deals slowly from that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it took a lot to go there. Like it was tough, but I don't want to go too far in this without talking about what DIY for a Cure is. I know what it is, but for people who are listening, do you want to just give them a quick
Oh,
snippet of what it
sure.
is?
Yeah, thanks. Because DIY for a Cure was actually started by um, Kel, who her handle is Simply Handmade. And her son was diagnosed with neuroblastoma in 2020. And he had a second relapse. I believe it was in 2021. And she felt like this pull to just do something large with this, like didn't want
Hmm.
to sit in this like hopelessness and just be like, why me and this and that, and decided to like put that sadness and anger into action. And so she collaborated with one who is another a DIY content creator whose son Chase had passed like the year after, in 2020. Unfortunately, he lost his battle to to AML, acute myeloid leukemia.
Got you.
And she had been sharing his journey for so long, so all of us felt like we lost Chase, like the community lost Chase.
Mm-hmm.
So Juan and Kel together kind of put on this like DIY for a cure campaign, where for a week everybody shared facts that are not very well known to people, about childhood cancer. For example, the fact that all childhood cancers combined get only 4% of all cancer research funding, and how often these diagnoses come up, and how much it affects families. Like it completely uproots families' lives and things like that. And they kind of helped give us glimpses into their lives of having a child who's sick and what it does and what their everyday looks like, and kind of channeling all of that to basically raise funds to find cures for neuroblastoma and AML. So yeah, our goal is $100,000, and we're at 62, I believe.
Awesome.
So, and it's a week long during September, where any creators of all kinds can share a project. It doesn't have to be a new one. It could be something that they've already done in the past. And throughout that week, they're sharing the process of creating this project, but intermittently also sharing facts about DIY about childhood cancer, and just sharing links to basically donate money for MSK Kids, which is the hospital where Kel's son is currently getting treatments. And hopefully that's going to go straight to research, to their research team to find cures for these cancers. So yeah, I'm super happy to be part of it.
That's awesome. So if people want to get involved, just reach out to DIY for a Cure, right, on Instagram.
Yeah, so the Instagram handle is DIY for a Cure, and you could send an email to DIYforACure@gmail.com. But yeah.
That's great. Well, hey, somebody who hears this might want to join in. They might have a story to share just of their personal life. Like,
yeah.
So I did want to like not glaze over it. As I was talking, I'm like, no, I really want to point this out. Like, what is this?
Thanks for doing that, because in my mind, everybody knows what DIY for a Cure is.
No, because you talk about it enough. Like they should know it, right? Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Somebody might be stumbling upon this for the first time. We never know.
Right.
Are you guys going to Maker Camp? I feel like I heard you mention you might.
I've been wanting to go so bad, but I especially because it's probably towards the end of the year. It's just like our finances get tighter and tighter with each month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's possible for us this year.
Hey, I understand that. I'm a budget to budget girl. Like I said, a month to month, I 100% get that. I only get to go to these fun things because I work for these things, So that's why I get to go.
But we will be at WorkbenchCon 2024.
That's what I like. I know. Hey, we will eventually announce who the speakers are. I am going to talk about that openly because I feel confident by the time I get this episode released that we're going to start posting about it. When I saw your guys' pitch, I was really excited. I was like, they do sell all the time. Whenever she posts something, it sells. So I'm like, I told Kristen when I read it, I'm like, this is a shoe-in. Like, this is already a yes, because I want to know what she's doing.
Oh,
like,
thanks.
So I'm like,
I literally so when I sent that pitch, I was first of all very sick, like around that time. So like I looked like death I remember in that video, but also I did it so last minute because I had been working, and I was just like, I'm just going to do it. I doubt that they're going to say yes, because I'm not one of those like big fancy speakers and things like that. But no, I'm like super glad like that they said that you all liked it.
Yeah, no, we have a board of people that we run them by. So like I said yes, and then we pitch it like, do you guys agree? And then it was just like done. Like everyone's like, yeah, because we see it every day.
Yeah, and I think like the nice thing is like that it caters to not just people who have like large platforms, and it doesn't mean, and it's not, you don't have to wait till you have 100,000 followers to actually start making money. Like you have control because you have the access to the tools. Like you have control of how much you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that in a way where you're guaranteed to make a revenue? So yeah.
No, I think it's going to be a really fun class, and
Thanks.
to have you guys there. We have a request of a comedy panel. and I really want to have you on it with us. Like, we don't have it really happening, but we might just
Right.
have to make it happen, because I know Alma wants to do it. I know I want to be on it. I want you on it. I think we would just be hilarious. Just goop
I
around.
am not actually that funny.
Yeah, but you could do commentary where you insult us at our bad jokes too.
I could do that. I'm
come
very
on,
good at
we need a
insulting.
hater. Yeah.
It's actually part of my last name. My name is Cater, but K hater, how you spell it. So perfect.
It's perfect. You're already ready. Yeah. But that sometimes is like the funniest stuff, is when you're just making comments of what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be stand-up jokes. It could be us answering real questions, but
Right.
sarcastically. You know what I mean?
Right.
People keep asking for it. Like, it was in 6 requests that they would be a
Really?
comedy panel. Yeah, like 6 of them. I
Like,
don't know.
just from the feedback from like
From our
attendees?
feedback. Yeah, like from the
Right.
end of the year feedback, like, or after it happens, people are like, there's so many funny makers. We need to have a comedy panel. I'm like, yeah, but they're funny in their videos. Doesn't mean they're going to be
Right.
funny in real life. That's what people
Right.
don't realize too. It's like,
Right. It's easy to be curated funny. Yeah.
than to be just out there insulting people or making
Right.
jokes online. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's a lot.
Yeah. I'm like sweating just thinking
About it. I could see that. I got real crazy. The anxiety flush.
Like, nah, no thanks.
You want me
We're
where?
good.
You want me to do what? You want me to be on a panel to be funny intentionally?
You want me to be on a panel? End it there. You want me to be on a panel?
I don't know what they want. I think somebody just wants somewhere where you could go in and you could relax and just bullshit. I feel like that's what they want. They want a bullshit session where this, like, maybe it's a live podcast or something, like, or live interview or something, you know, like,
Just
I feel
people
like,
just popping in and out. That would be
yeah,
fun.
I feel like
That'd
they
be
need
fun.
something like that, because that people want that stress relief, I think, between all the classes, because it does get intense. You've been 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get overwhelmed pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
I definitely needed to be like, okay, I'm gonna just go to the hotel room and just stare at the wall. But yeah, no, I mean, just because it's like it's a lot going on and it's like constant noise and overstimulation nonstop, and I really do enjoy. Like, I'm a very outgoing person and I'm an extrovert by nature, but also it's like you're in an environment where, you know, I'm like, I don't know how people react to somebody who looks like me, like, or how people would respond to somebody who looks like me. And it's always in the back of my mind, which it shouldn't be, but it's always in the back of my mind. And yeah, so sometimes I'm just like, okay, I just need a minute to breathe. Okay, I'm fine. Let's go back out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's something that sucks to have to think about, right? Like, in your head, like, you can't get it out of your head because you know that you look different, or, you know, you're going to stand out because you are wearing something, you know, like,
Right.
it's a dead beacon, like,
Right.
hey, she's different.
Right. And and it goes both ways. It's not necessarily that people are going to be rude or, you know, just unwelcoming, but it's also like, and again, this is a big me problem, but I'm always like, are they only talking to me to look like, oh, wow, look at how open and inclusive they are talking to like that.
I only laugh because it's like, no, that is not the only
No,
reason.
I know it's like, but not people
but
that
and
I
you,
speak
yeah,
to
I
on
get
a
it.
regular basis, but people that I've just met. Like, and I've had weird encounters where I'm just like, oh, I think you had me confused for the other one. Like, which is hilarious. Like, it's really funny, but I'm just like, I don't know why you're talking to me and being super nice to me when we literally just met. And I get some people are just really nice right off the bat. And I think 99.9% of the time, it's not an issue. It's in my head.
No, I get it.
But yeah, I mean, that's a big reason why I didn't share my face on my page for a long time. Not because I'm like scared of anybody saying something like I have all the comebacks in the world. I've heard it all. Like,
we know.
You know, I've literally heard it all in person too. It's not that. It's just, to me, I'm like, I don't want people seeing me and being like, oh, I'm going to follow her because I'm inclusive. Like, no, I want you to follow me because the pieces that you see that I'm making are actually ones that you like, or something about my message resonates with you. Like, I don't want you to follow me just so you could like check that
box,
check that box.
Yeah.
And so again, it's a me thing, but I can't help, you know.
Well, there's things that sit in the back of our mind that we just
Right.
cannot help. For me, I'll be honest, I'm a bigger girl, right? Compared to all these little small girls who are out there in this content creation world. I've
Right.
got those same feelings like, oh, look at all you cute girls prancing around. Here I come.
Right.
You- Look at all you little ballerinas dancing away. But no, like I have those feelings too. Like, oh, I don't belong here with these people, like I'm a sure I stand out, like so I feel you. I feel you. It may not be culture wise, but it's
Right.
just I'm different, you know?
Right. And I think everybody struggles with like, do I belong? And I don't
Mhm.
even think it has to be from one thing. I don't think it's like cultural. I don't think it's appearance. Like
Yep.
I think some people, it's like their style might be different or
Yep.
something about like their views might be different. And so I think everybody struggles with like, I feel like maybe they think I don't belong here.
And you know the nice part about the maker community is that all of us feel that way. And yet we're also accepting of each other. Like
Right.
it is literally the most accepting community I've ever been a part of.
Right.
Very rare do you find assholes. I mean, they're there, but
But it's
they're
rare.
it's
It's
very
very rare.
rare. It's
Right.
very rare. Like it's most people just super excited with what they're making and wanting
Right.
to share that. I think that's why
Right.
it's so cool. We're not just showing you the new shampoo you bought for your dog. Occasionally we will because that's how we get paid, but
Right.
we're not just showing you that. We're
Right.
showing you everything that's personal to us, everything that we put our heart into and our soul, and we're presenting that to the world. So we're also vulnerable
Right.
and
Right.
we're putting it out there when we just naturally accept that in each other. Like you can see that person's passion every day.
Right. And then just like the lack of gatekeeping that I've seen overall, like, yeah, there's a few people who are not helpful if you need
Mm-hmm.
something, but overall, the lack of gatekeeping has been so refreshing. Like, there's a place for everybody to learn
Mm-hmm.
from each other. And it's just that like allows for all of us to kind of find our place. And even if you're, and I always tell people, like, I don't care if you copy my salt cellars. I don't care if you make your own and then go sell them because mine are always going to look different and yours are always going to look
Mm-hmm.
different. Like yours are going to look like you, mine are going to look like me. And also there's no way I can make enough to
No.
supply like the demand. So it's like, if anything, make them. I'll share your link. Like it's not a big deal. But in the process of you making something that was inspired by me, you're eventually going to find your own voice and creative path. And you might have needed to copy somebody first in order
Yeah.
to find your own way of doing things. And it's all okay.
You
Like,
get you get taught that. Like I went to school for fine art and graphic design, and
oh,
in
nice.
those classes, they do teach you that, like, you know, they always say it's like the ultimate flattery when somebody copies you, but
Mhm.
it's also a great way to learn by
Yeah.
copying everybody, seeing what you like, what you didn't like, and then moving on from there. And eventually you find your style. You never believe that you're gonna find your style. And
Right.
sometimes you think like, I love how she does it. I have to emulate it. And like, that's the style I love. And you eventually, as you continue to try, you find your way to like what you
Right.
really love. It is crazy. Also, you should sell those salt sellers, the files for them. And literally, if just perpetual, just money, passive income, videos of how you carve them step by step and just have people purchase them. I'm just saying, because they're gorgeous
Good idea.
and you're done making them. Like
Right.
you will when you need money. I get it. But you're essentially done, and yet they're too gorgeous not to live on. Like they're beautiful. I would do that. I would make a pattern book and I would tell them, like, because you draw your patterns out essentially with how you're going to carve.
Sometimes, yeah.
You could just recreate them for extra profit. Just saying. I
Right.
see a nice pathway for you to have a little passive income because you can't
I
carve
think
them all.
I think that's a really good idea. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, but that's definitely a good idea.
You have the
I,
footage, just break it down.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. But I do have like a YouTube video out about how I make the salt cellars. And I have a bunch of people will tag me in posts and be like, I use this YouTube video. But like I go back on that YouTube video and I'm like, okay, but I've totally changed how I make things now to make it like a much quicker process that I can
Yeah.
batch it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. To create this look, you're going to need this style burr. To create this, you're going to need this. Like, it's just the
That's
shape.
freaking genius, Tiffany.
I have like too many ideas to execute, but like
Right.
I would love to see that because you could just literally hear the ones boop, boop, boop,
Mhm.
boop, and then get these tools and go and you make these things, because you could literally draw out your patterns and put like little shaded areas of where you should carve. Now I'm going into detailed descriptions for you, but because you have a product that anybody could make if they knew how to get to that point, right? After some experience, after a lot of issues of error, like they could make that. So I know it's just a great way, because we can't always rely on sponsors giving us money, and rarely do they do, right? I don't get a lot of money from anybody. I usually get the tools, and that's about it. And I'm okay with that on if they're good amount of stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
But to be able to make videos off of those tools that I have that are going to help people out, like I think that's cool. You're going to empower a lot of people who really want to do it and make yourself some money.
That's a good idea.
And that's my business plan for you today.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to put my kids through college, retire early.
Also, see, now I'm in my pitching aspect too. You could make a book too.
A book?
How to power carve these things as a book. Fox Chapel Publishing.
Oh, that's smart.
Literally Fox Chapel Publishing. Reach out to them.
Okay.
There's my pitch for you today.
Thanks.
Yeah. I actually want to be, okay, another thing I really want to be now that, okay, first I have to kind of end the podcast because I just looked over and saw that we're way past. So
okay.
I'm going to do this official thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you, blah, blah, blah spiel, but not really. But okay, so here's my plan, because I'm just going to end the podcast. They are looking for influencers to work with to create books at Fox Chapel Publishing. And I think that would be a really cool way to do it. Is you could do the videos, you could do the digital plans, but then you could also go for the people that aren't on Instagram, the people who just make because they like to make, and they go to the store and they go to Woodcraft and they get their new magazine once a month and they go and they try those plants. You could do that too. That's
a really good idea. I'm going to look into that.
I recommend it. I just came up with that.
Genius.
But no, I have an LLC called One Car Garage LLC. Like that's my company name. And I would love to help like mentor people with just fucking brainstorming. Like come to a brainstorm session. Let's talk about what we could make. Because God knows I have ideas, but I can't execute them.
Right. I mean, same, but I need to start because I'm sick of being broke.
I'm licensing off an idea that that I've been working on. The reason I quit my job, my new product line, it's for kids who are on the spectrum. And I've learned over the last 2 months, I really hate making them. I do not like it. It's a great idea and it's going to be amazing when it's made, but somebody else has to make it for me. So I am outsourcing that essentially. They're going to do all the fulfillment. They're going to make it for me and it's going to be done. But I only get a tiny little cut. So I'm trying to figure out other ways to bring in more income from that because I really want them out in the world. I have to understand, like right now, it doesn't make sense that I can build another company to make this and put people in employ. I'm like, just let somebody else do all the work. So I'm going to be writing some books to go with it.
That's awesome.
And like, I just think that's just like, sometimes that's the way to go is like, it's so, I always wanted to, yeah, exactly. Like, so I'm concentrating after Maker Camp, after this Carve With Us competition, I've really got to start focusing in. It's just shitty because guess what's going to pick up more and more is workbench time. I'm like, that motherfucker. I'm like, it's going to pick up and knock me down.
No, it's not going to knock you down.
No, I know. But I just, when you really want to be somewhere and you can't get there fast enough because you don't have the time, you have to do other stuff to make money to take care of your family. It hurts.
I 1000% feel you on that.
Yes. I just want to be there. And I'm like, I can't be there yet. And you see other people doing their thing and don't compare yourself to other people. And you're just like, they're doing it.
They're doing it.
And I'm doing it too. I just like, it just feels so slow where like lately it hasn't felt like that. It's been like spiraling too fast because I like now I need to like sign the deal, copyright things, trademark things, and like actually make it real all in like the same time where I'm doing everything else. I'm like,
Right. But it's like everything is gonna like you're gonna hit a point where everything just clicks and you're like, wow, everything just fell into place. It's
Yes.
just so much work to get here,
Mm-hmm.
but now we're here. And it doesn't
Yes.
mean like you stop, you just keep going and like, but you start to feel more confident about going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've hit those plateaus where I've like just sit there and admire how far you've gotten.
Mhm.
Like, I know you wish you could be further, but look how far you've gotten already.
Right.
Like, you're doing good. Like, I have to give myself
Right.
pep talks, and I'm sure you have to do the same
Oh,
thing.
all the time.
Yeah.
Chaos actually sometimes has to be the one to, because sometimes I get so focused on, like you said, where you want to be,
Yeah.
and just being so down on the fact that like I physically can't because
Mhm.
of all these obligations of, I have
Yeah.
to be at work at the hospital. I have to do this. I have to be with my kids and this and that. And Fidel sometimes tells me like, you need to stop watching Instagram for a little bit because you are starting to internalize other people's videos
Yep.
and feeling like, oh my God, I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough. And he's like, and that's not true. And your circumstances are different and it's okay. It'll happen. You just need to just slow down, give yourself time, stop watching
Mhm.
Instagram for a little bit.
Oh, and I wish I could.
Right. I know. When I feel like that, then I just go to TikTok.
There you go. Switch platforms
Right. Switch
where nothing
platform.
is the same because
Right.
it's all fed to you differently.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
funny. Oh man. I mean, that's a way to get around it, right?
Right. For sure.
No, you're doing awesome. I'm super excited for you. I'm glad that one of your videos finally like popped off to the point where you got that following that you have always should have been at. And
Oh,
I
thanks.
hope they're treating you well there. I hope they're
Well,
are they just kind of silent
they're just
passengers?
kind of silent passengers, but
That's
it's
what Katie Freeman told me when she got like her followers. She's like, don't be excited. It's just silence here. It's cool. The
it's
likes are
silence,
there.
right?
Yeah,
I
but it's
know.
silence. Yeah.
It's silence, like, and it's okay. It's fine because I
Yeah.
feel like brands see it and they're like, I mean, I'll be honest, like I
It
feel like,
helps.
yeah, it helps, and
Yeah.
I feel like my engagement's not like it's not a lot worse than it was,
That's
but
good.
I consistently like I really stand behind if you make a good video for the most part, you will get engagement. Like, yeah,
Yes.
there's gonna be some times where nobody's online, so nobody sees it, or like things didn't land like you thought they would, or whatever.
Or
But
you posted
overall,
it too late because you had a rough day and you just shot off at the
exactly,
wrong time.
exactly.
Because I do that and I'm like, why did I do that? Just hold on to
Same,
it.
same.
Just
I
hold
did
on
that
to it.
on, I think Friday, and I was like, oh, that did not do well. But
Yeah.
and it's fine. It's all just part of the game, and
Mm-hmm.
it's. I don't get too hurt by it. I don't take anything personally. I don't start hating the algorithm and just complaining about it nonstop. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
But it's cool when it happens. And I'm glad it worked out for you because
Oh, thanks.
you do make good hypnotizing videos where you just want to watch it again. You know what I mean? Or like,
Oh,
oh, look at how
thanks.
that's stacked. I want to watch that thing stack again. Like it's just soothing to see the thing come alive, you know? So
I
like
just wish that was better quality so I could reuse it in every single video. I'm kidding.
I know it's got to be hard not to like keep releasing like the ones that pop off.
Right.
I'm just gonna
Right.
set this one here for a little while, see what happens.
Right.
Oh man. Well, thank you for coming on. Seriously though, I've had a pleasure like chatting with you. When we had our last interview, it was 4 people. It was
Right.
crazy. We tried our best, but like I felt like we were on the Brady Bunch. There was just so many heads moving and talking.
It was fun
It
though.
was a really
And
good
I feel like
time.
they are freaking amazing and talented. And it was really cool chatting with them.
It was a cool freaking panel, right? Like
Right. It was.
that was fun. I never met Cammie at all, like talked before. And same for like Rebecca. I've always admired her stuff, but I never like talked to her, you know? So
Same.
that was cool.
And their work is like everybody's work is so different. So it was
Mhm.
cool to just kind of pick their brains and see kind of their approach to things. It was really nice.
Yay, I'm so glad. Cool. Well, all right. I could chat with you forever. Thank you for coming on. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, have a great night.
All right, I hope you enjoyed getting to know Hadeel. She is amazing and I absolutely love her. if you want to hear that conversation that we were talking about with the other people on the panel, it is with Cammy's Garage, Rebecca DeGroot, and Cecilia from the shop Wood Design, and of course Hadeel and myself. And you can find that on Sabertooth's channel on their YouTube channel, and it's called Carver Conversations. And I'll actually link that playlist to my YouTube as well, so you can find it there. But it's a really cool conversation to watch and just kind of get to know all these amazing makers. And a few things that you guys can do if you want to come and learn to power carve. There's 2 places I'll be teaching right now, and I'm actually going to be scouting out a new one tonight. I'm going to be starting to hit local maker spaces and doing power carving classes. And first up, I have Hatch Space, and that is in Vermont. It's right over the line in Brattleboro, and I have 2 sessions there. So I have a beginners learn to carve session, and that we're going to be playing with every single tool that your heart desires. I'm bringing my full pack out. And I'm going to be having a power carving scoop class as well with that. And then the other class is we're going to be making the Beetlejuice sculptures. So Mama Deet sculpture is going to be created by you. I'm going to prep everything, and all you got to do is show up and have fun. And that's going to probably be a 2-day course. I'm going to be carving it one more time just to see how long it takes. But if that interests you, let me know, reach out. And of course, if you're going to be at Maker Camp, definitely come by the Sabertooth tent. There's going to be a lot of sawdust getting kicked up over there. All right, well, I hope you have a great day. And again, thank you for listening.